Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Friday, TGIF. I'm so glad we have made it to the weekend, and I know you guys probably are too. You know, coming off the holiday weekend, it can be hard to just like get back to work. Like whether you had a 3-day weekend, 4-day, 5-day, I had a 5-day weekend because I took off that Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And child, going back to work, man, I'm like, I need a vacation now. Like, man. But anyways, we made it. So give yourself a round of applause. While you're here, go ahead and show your girl some love by liking the video and hitting subscribe if you are feeling the vibe, period. Okay, some of y'all have been following me on social media. All my social media is Zodiac Zena, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Zodiac Zena. At the end of the video, I'll probably put it on the screen as well as with my email before we get into the commentary. So, I do have remote jobs available. It is Friday, so non-phone Fridays means that I have remote jobs available for you guys. Non-incoming call-based remote jobs. I still have my video from Wednesday of I think it's either 4 or 5 remote jobs on that video, and this one is 3. And there was a girl who asked about remote part-time positions. I have 2 part-time remote positions that are hiring and 1 full-time. Okay, all of these are non-call center based positions. You might have some phone work, but they are not incoming call center based positions. So that is on my personal channel, how to set up your equipment, vlogging, all of that is on my personal channel. Okay, and I mean, when I say set up equipment, I mean like if you have small kids and you don't know what to do, like how to set up your equipment, they'd be like, oh, you'd be like, oh my gosh, they're going to touch my stuff, they're going to get into my stuff, like how am I going to do this, do that? I got you. I got 2 vlogs on how I set up my remote equipment when I have a toddler at home. And then she's a little older now. So I have 2 vlogs about that on what I do. And a couple girls have said they know that helped them and they know what they're going to do now. So again, that's on my personal channel. So I'll link that in the comments below. Now, today's video, I have not came up with the title exactly yet. So y'all will see that by the time this is posted. But this is going to be a story about a guy who uses witchcraft, y'all, to enslave this girl. And you're also going to learn in the story that he also, apparently, I don't know if it's like a cult he got going on or what it is, but he's enslaved others as well. Okay, so you're going to see that through this video. It is crazy. We are definitely going to have a conversation about this at the end. Y'all know that this is going to be from your good old girl Rosie. Okay, so we're going to talk more about that at the end. So enjoy, and remember, just in case you don't watch the end commentary, we do not spiritually or religiously condemn anybody else. You can comment based off of your own beliefs, spiritual beliefs, so please don't comment under other people's comments trying to religiously or spiritually condemn them. Okay, so without further ado, go ahead and watch, and I will be back.
Hi TikTok, it's your girl Rosie. I am back with another story time. As y'all know, my platform's a platform where I tell you guys stories about witchcraft, tell you guys about the consequences that come with it, but I also highlight the mercy, the grace, and the love of God. I just left church, which was amazing, and God was moving as he always is. Y'all, God is so good. He is so good. He is so good. And I decided before I go back in the house, I'm going to share with you guys a story that was told to me that really broke my heart. Y'all, when I tell you guys, no joke, I got so emotional hearing this story just because I could see a lot of myself, my past life in these ladies. And this story is going to remind you guys that if you still have family members or friends that are still living in sin, the best thing you can do for them is to pray for them. But not only pray for them, speak life into them. When you get the opportunity or the chance to talk to them, the best thing to do is to speak life into them. The Bible says that life and death begins with your tongue. The Bible also says that whatever you bind on earth, you bind in the heavenly realms. Whatever you loose on earth, you loose in the heavenly realms. When you know your friend or whoever is dealing with a spirit of let's say addiction, you bind that spirit. You know, you speak life into them. Anyways, y'all, as y'all know, I hate giving names because I end up forgetting. But let me just start the story. All right, so there was a group of girls and they were SWs. I think you guys already know what that means. The ladies of the night. Yeah, ladies of the night. And these ladies would travel around different cities, different towns. Sometimes they would cross the borders, go to different countries, and their jobs were they would meet different type of men and they would do what they do. And they would house together and share the money. They would split it according to who was working with who, stuff like that. But it was a large group of girls, and they did this for the longest. Until one time they go to a country which is next to their country, and when they get there, they do the same thing, go to different towns, different cities where they've heard from people that this is where the ballers are. This is where the ballers are. Go here, go to this town, go to this city. And what ended up happening is they met the wrong guy. What ends up happening is they go to the club. When they get to the club, they do their usual. They drink, they talk, they chit chat. And when they're in the club, this gentleman walks in. When he walks in, all the girls are like, oh, he's really good looking. You know, he just smelled like money. I know that when I used to be a dancer, or when I owned a strip club as well, I had a sense, I call it like a demonic sense, where like I could be able to like sense people with money, right? You can sense the ones that fake they have money, but you can sense like the real ballers, the shot callers. Oh man, I'm getting a call. I'll call them back later. I was saying, I always had like that weird sense where I could be able to like tell people that had money compared to like the fake ballers. Yeah, besides the point. Anyways, this guy walks into the club, and the minute he walks in, everybody is WhatsApping him. He seems like he knows everybody. He seems like the owner and him are good friends. He goes to the bar. Bartender doesn't even ask him what he wants to drink. Automatically, they know what he wants to drink. And while he's getting his drink, he's looking around. And to me, it sounds like he was fishing for the next girl or whatever. He was looking around for new faces. Kind of like in the club. In the club, when I work in the strip club industry, you always had that saying that new face brings new money, and it's true. And it's a new girl. When she walks in, she's always going to make money, right? But anyway, so he was looking around to see which girl or who he wanted to talk to. At that moment, he spots that group of girls. The minute he spots them, he smiles at them. They smile right back. He grabs a drink. He heads their way. The girls are excited because they're like, he looks and he smells like he has money. They sit down, they start talking. He orders these girls some drinks, and they start talking to each other. The girls ask him what he does. He tells them that he's in real estate. He owns a couple properties, yada, yada, yada. He also has, ventures with other businesses, yada, yada, yada. And he asks the girls what they do, and they're very honest with him. They tell them that, they're in school, but at the same time, they're SW workers. The guy's like, all right, that's cool. He's like, well, I have a couple friends. Maybe I can throw some parties and you guys can come in and do what you do, yada, yada, yada. The whole night, he's like taking good care of them, like buying them food, drinks, and this and the other, whatever. But that whole night, he had an eye on one particular girl at the group. Now, we need to give her a name. Let's call her, as y'all know, my favorite name is Ashley, because I could never seem to forget that name. Ashley. He keeps looking at Ashley. Out of the whole group, Ashley was the most shy one. She was the youngest one of the group. Super quiet, super introvert. Speaks when being spoken to. Didn't really say much, but he seemed to like eye on her. Like he liked her. He kept talking to her. And, even when the group leader was like trying to get this guy, the guy was just really into Ashley. He starts talking to Ashley, and Ashley's very quiet, not saying much. And that's how like their group was. Ashley was always the quiet one. It always felt like they had to nudge her to do things. At this point, the group of girls get up. When they get up, they go to the restroom, and they're trying to hype Ashley up. They're telling Ashley, girl, are you slow? This guy likes you, this and the other. They're like, you're the connection for us to make money in this town. Ashley goes back out there. He's talking to the guy. At that point, they all decide that they're going to meet up the following weekend, and he was going to throw a party where he was going to invite his friends, and the girls were going to do their job. Before the night ended, Ashley and this gentleman, let's call him Larry. He was like a really good-looking older guy, had the salt and pepper going on, older, smelled good, had his life together. But anyways, before the night ends, they switch numbers, and they have come up with a decision that they're all going to go to his property, and he was going to invite a couple of his friends that are rich, and the girls were going to be able to make their money and have a good time. Cool. Throughout that week, Larry is texting Ashley all the time. Again, like I mentioned, Ashley's very shy, doesn't speak much. Larry's asking for pictures, asking for this, asking for that. And Ashley, she does what she has to do, because she came from, I wasn't trying to say this part till the end, but I'm gonna have to tell you guys. She came from a very, very, very poor family, where like at a certain age, her parents took her out of school. They could barely afford tuition for her, because like I always say, in Africa it's different than in America. In Africa, some places there's no such thing as public school. It's private schools. If you don't have money for school, your kids are not going to school, point blank, right? And so when she got at a certain age, her parents took her out of school and they made her start working. And most kids are in the streets selling bubble gum, selling this, selling that, and she just couldn't continue this lifestyle of selling this and that because she was never able to help her family like she wanted to. That's when she decided that she was going to start doing what she was doing. All right. Now back to Ashley and Larry. Larry every day, talking to her, sending her money, doing whatever for her because he's very into this girl. The weekend comes. At this point, he sends them the location. He tells them where they're going to meet up. The girls heads to this location. These girls are from the village as well, right? And the sad part is, let me tell you guys, I know that sometimes I go into details that, that's not really a part of the story, but I just feel like it's important for me to say this. People do witchcraft for certain reasons. It's always about power, money, and a lot of the victims are usually the people that don't have money. The people that the enemy feels like, you know what? Let me help you since your life kind of sucks, And these are the people that always end up falling victim to witchcraft. Anyways, back to my story. So, the minute they pull up to this guy's house, they're like super amazed. The house is very beautiful. Like, we're talking about everything you can think of, but more. Pool, yada yada yada. The minute they pull in, they see a lot of gentlemen out there waiting for them, and the party's going. They're all drinking, they're all partying, dancing, yada 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 yada. At this point, Larry is still like pushing himself to Ashley. Now Ashley does know that she's an SW worker, but she just feels like Larry wants more. Like I mentioned, it seemed like he was wanting more from her than what she usually gives. What she usually gives is her body, and she's done with it. But he was asking her questions about her life and what she wants to do. He was wanting like an emotional relationship, and that's something that she just wasn't going to give to him, especially that he was older than her. But throughout the night, he's talking to her, yada, yada, yada. And at this point, her friends are kind of getting irritated with her because they're like, dude, your job is to flirt with this guy. And you can clearly tell it. You can see it by looking at you that you're not happy, you're uncomfortable, yada, 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 when you already know what you signed up for. At this point, they all start drinking. And then one by one, her friends are going to different rooms to get their job done. And at this point, it's just Ashley and Larry. And that's when Larry takes her upstairs. And they start doing what they're doing. Now, this is where people thought homegirl was crazy. She swore up and down that when they were doing the hanky panky, that 20 minutes into it, as he's on top of her, she can literally, it's dark. The room is dark. The music is going. It's like she said that the music was super weird. She just thought maybe, again, they're from different countries, so she thought that maybe it's their type of music, she can understand the language, but she could swear up and down that as he's on top of her, that she can see a demonic creature standing like on top of him. And this demonic creature had this big mouth, like wide mouth, like he was just, oh yeah, I'm getting chills saying that, like he was enjoying what was going on between her and him. And at this point, she gets up and she's like, stop. And he's like, what? And she's like, can you please just turn on the light? And he's like, he's trying to tell her, I don't like doing that. I like to be able to, I like to be able to feel the girl. I don't want to see the girl. He's like giving her every excuse in the world on why he wants to do what they're doing in the dark. At this point, Ashley's like, I'm not comfortable doing it in the dark. Can you please turn on the light? They turn on the light and they're trying to get back in the mood, but things just don't work out like it was supposed to. At this point, the rest of the girls are done with their jobs, and Ashley gets out the room and they're all sitting in the living room talking, but Ashley feels so weird from the moment they started doing the hanky panky. This is why the Bible tells us, I've always said this and I'm going to say it again. There are certain sins where the Bible says, don't do this, don't do that, but when it comes to sex, the Bible says, flee, run away. Because not only sex, you're sinning against your own body, which your body is a temple of God. What better way to invite demons in your body than to do the do? This is why a lot of us are walking around with demonic soul ties not knowing. Anyways, her friends are super excited because like I mentioned, her friends are super excited because they've all got paid and they got paid really, really good. They're talking about the amount amongst each other and how much they got paid. They look at Ashley and they're like, hey, Ashley, how much did you get paid? And mind you, these girls are still at this guy's house, right? And the girls are like telling Ashley, how much did you get paid? Ashley was like, well, I wasn't able to really get the job done, so he didn't pay me. Friends are really irritated, but they're not trying to show it. And at the same time, they've been drinking. Anywho, the girls get up. It's time for them to go. The girls get up to leave. And before Ashley walks out the door, Larry pulls her back inside to say goodbye. And that's when he hands her an envelope. And in that envelope was a lot of money. Ashley's like, what's this about? He's like, I just want to give this to you to thank you for the night. He's like, I know, like, we weren't able to do what we usually do. The job wasn't done, but just your presence, being around you was something I needed. So I'm thanking you for it, and I would like to see you again. At this time, he hugs her, and he had called them, I guess a cab driver, whatever you want to call him, to come pick him up. The girl's already in the car. As she's walking to the car, she's smiling. The girls are like, you know, what happened? And she's like, well, he handed me this. The girls look at the envelope of money, and they're all so happy. They get in the car, and she got paid like maybe even quadruple, like 4 times the amount that her friends got paid. On the ride back home, the girls are super excited. They're like, oh man, you know, they're all talking about the partners that they hung out with and how they're all gonna see them again and yada yada yada. And they're telling Ashley, man, you should arrange for this to happen again before we go to the next town. We need for this situation to occur again. Ashley's a little happy because she's thinking, okay, maybe he's a good guy because I didn't do nothing, but I still got paid. So a couple days in, Ashley and Larry are texting back and forth, and Larry's telling her that I want to see you, I want to hang out with you, I want to take you out on a date, yada yada yada. But again, Ashley doesn't want to be emotionally attached to this guy because she knows that in the next couple weeks they're going to be dipping to a new town, and because he's a little older, like, she doesn't want that. She's not doing this job because she's having fun, because she's doing it because she needs to. She has to send money back home, yada yada yada. Anywho, he's insisting, and she's like, no, I can't, I won't be able to just come alone. If you want me to come, I'm gonna have to bring my friends, and they're gonna have to get paid. He tells her, well, you know what, I'm gonna throw another party like that again. The girls get excited again. Yo, oh Lord. Ugh. Man, you know, I get so frustrated because the enemy, anyways, we'll do the moral of the story later. Anyways, the second time, I stated, the second time that they meet up, he asked for them to come a little early. He was going to have a chef prepare them some lunch. The girls can hang out, can swim in his pool. He said the reason being is because he wants to spend a little bit more time with Ashley. Cool. The girls get there a little early. When they get there, they're hanging out, they're having lunch, this and the other. And then him and Ashley are talking again. He's trying to get deep with Ashley. He's trying to get to know her even better. Ashley's just being very surface. He tells the girls, he's like, hey, we're gonna go to the clubs. He's like, and after the club, he said, my friends that are gonna be at the club, we're all going to come back to my house and we're gonna have fun. Yes, they go to the clubs, they have a good time. When they come back, they drink a little bit more, and like the ladies of the night, they do, each girl goes with your separate guys and they go get their job done. Now this time, Ashley and Larry go back into the room. Now let me tell you guys about the setup of the room this time. There was roses, there was candles, everything you would imagine, like a Valentine's type of scenario that was going on, scene that was going on, which I'll tell you guys something about that at the end. Now Ashley's like, oh my goodness, he's so sweet. Like, he's just telling Ashley, I just want to make you feel special. I figured maybe if, you know, last time you were a little bit uncomfortable, I know that you didn't like, you know, the lights being off. I have candles and everything out for you so you're comfortable. You can still be able to see a little bit of the light, but also I can still be able to do what I do in the dark. Cool. They begin doing the hanky-panky, and every time the hanky-panky began, Ashley felt a demonic presence in that room. The minute it started, she could feel the coldness. She could feel just everything about it was just so wrong. And the minute again he got on top of her, she could clearly see a demonic creature literally on top of him. This creature, again, the most demonic smile you could think of, teeth sharp as a shark teeth, just very disgusting. At this point, Ashley's telling herself, maybe it's in my head, maybe because I've been drinking and I've been doing party favors, maybe I'm imagining this. They get the job done. When they get the job done, Ashley tells him, hey, I'm going to go sit in the living room and wait for the rest of the girls. She does that. He's talking to her while the other girls are getting their job done, asking her questions, this and the other. He's like, I want to take you out on a date. I want to introduce you to my family, my this, my that. Ashley's like, one ear, listening to it, it's coming out of the other ear. She's really not into it. And at I mentioned, she's not paying him no mind, she knows that something is very off with this guy. But the girls come out, the rest of the girls come out, and they're all excited. They done got paid, and Larry already has a driver ready to take them to their crib. At this point, just like the first time, he hands her an envelope full of money. This time, the amount of money was 10 times the amount of her usual pay. So the first time was 4 times. This time, he paid her 10 times than her regular pay. Anyways, these girls in the car are telling her how lucky she is, how she's the one that doesn't want to do this lifestyle. She doesn't want to keep doing this for the rest of her life. They're telling her maybe he's the guy that you need to be with. Maybe you need to give him a chance. You can be able to get out of this lifestyle and maybe go to school, get your life together, take care of your family. But she knows that something is wrong with this guy. She can't shake this feeling off. Anyways, they get back to their crib. They're sharing this house. When they get there, they're splitting their money. At this point, take showers and they go to bed. When they go to bed, Ashley swears up and down that she woke up. Now, this is spiritually. She woke up hearing a knock on the door. And it's always what? 3 knocks. The enemy has no new tactics. No new tactics. When you see these scary movies, it's always the same thing. Scratches on the wall, somebody walking on the roof, knocks on the door. It's always these same tactics. She hears 3 knocks on the door in her dream. And when she hears that, in her dream, she's trying to wake her friends up, telling one of her friends, open the door, somebody's knocking on the door, somebody's knocking on the door. And it's like her friends are like dead to the world. They can't hear her. At that point, she said that she stood up. This is her dreaming. She didn't, this is the dreams, not the physical. She sat up in the bed, and that's when she saw this demonic creature, the same entity that she saw that was on top of Mr. Larry. She saw that same entity at the door of her room. The minute she saw that entity, literally 2 seconds later, her body went into sleep paralysis. She couldn't move at all. And at that point, this entity got on top of her and started doing its thing, started doing the hanky-panky with her. Now, this entity is what you call an incubus spirit. An incubus spirit is a male demon that will come to you at night and take advantage of you. A succubus is the opposite, a female demon. This demonic creature is doing the unthinkable to her. When he's done, he gets up and he leaves, and at that point, she wakes up screaming. Oh. She wakes up screaming. After screaming, her friends get up. They're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? She's telling her friends the dream that she had, and her friends are like, did you really just wake us up because of this? They're like, girl, go back to bed. We have work to do tomorrow, because the next day they plan on going to the club and finding the next guy. Anyways, next day Ashley wakes up with the worst headache. Her body's super sore. She feels as though she's coming up with a cold. That's when she tells the girls, y'all, I'm not going to be able to go with you guys to the club tonight, because their plan was for the girls to lounge around the whole day till they went to the club and they found their next customers, their next clientele. That night, the girls go out. Ashley decides to stay in. She hangs out. She decides to take a shower. And the minute she's taking a shower, she could swear up and down that she could hear things moving in the kitchen, like there's somebody in their home. She gets out the shower, goes into the living room, like, hello, is anybody here? Nobody. At that point, she's like, maybe I'm just sick. Maybe I'm just putting all this in my head. At that point, she puts on her pajama. Guess who's texting her throughout the whole day? Larry. She tells Larry she's not feeling well. She's going to go to bed. Larry's like, hey, do you want to come over so I can take care of you? She's like, no, I'm good, yada, yada, yada. She goes to bed. The minute she closes her eyes, she's in that in-between stage. She could clearly hear somebody in her kitchen. But at this point, it's like she's so tired, she couldn't even get up. And at that moment, she has another sleep paralysis, and the same demonic entity took advantage of her. When she woke up from that sleep paralysis, she's freaking out. She's sitting in the living room, rocking back and forth, scared, because she swears up and down that literally, as she woke up, she saw a shadow person literally like run from one corner of the room to the next. She turns on all the lights. She sits in the living room to wait for the rest of the girls to come in. The minute the girls come in, they're all drunk, all like, laughing and talking, and she's just rocking back and forth. And the girls are like, what's wrong? What's wrong? She tells the girls about the dream she had again. She tells them about the creature, that the shadow person that she saw, and the girls are like, something's wrong with you. Like, maybe it's just because you're sick. Maybe you're seeing things. She's like, no, something is off. At that point, the girls are arguing with each other because one of the girls seems to believe Ashley. The rest of the girls are telling her that, no, Ashley's just tripping, yada, 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 yada. But her friend is like, look, I know something is off because I alone knew that when I saw her in the morning walk into the restroom, I could have sworn that I saw a shadow follow her. And at this point, the rest of the girls are like, now I know that y'all are really tripping. Anyways, they go to bed. Y'all, let's turn off my lights because I have the car running. Makes no sense. Anyways, like I said, these girls go to bed. The night before, they all got into it because Ashley's trying to tell these girls that something is wrong, something is off, that maybe the house is haunted. Ooh, someone's turning on their lights. Maybe the house is haunted. And one of the girls out of the group believes Ashley, and she's the closest one to Ashley. And we're going to have to give her a name because she's very important to the story. We're going to call her Rachel. Anyways, the next day when Ashley woke up, she had bruises all over her body. They don't understand where the bruises came from, but she has bruises all over her body. And at this point, Ashley's become very quiet, very recluse, not speaking, not saying a word. And the girls are trying to ask her, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? Ashley's not telling them anything. But Ashley's like, hey, y'all, I'm going to go hang out with Larry. And the girls are like, what? They're like, okay, yeah, we're going to come with you. And she's like, no, just me and Larry. And the girls are like, you don't even like this guy. Why all of a sudden you woke up and now you want to hang out with him? And Ashley's like, no, I'm going to hang out with him. And she's like, even whatever money I make, I'm still going to bring it here and we're all going to split it. She's like, but he wants to hang out with me and I want to hang out with him. Odd, huh? Isn't that odd? Anyways, that day, bruise and all, takes a shower, gets dressed. Larry pops up, picks her up, and they're hanging out. He takes her out on a fancy date, this and the other. They go back to his house. The same thing occurred. Same thing. She walks in the room. He has it set up for her. I don't think that it was a cute setup. I think that it was a ritual going on. I don't care what nobody says. The setup that was explained to me, the candles around, this and the other, I think it's very ritualistic. Personally. The same thing. She sees that same entity. But at this time, it's like she's... Oh, someone's trying to call me. I'll call them back. But at this point, it's like she's kind of like numb to it. Like she's not... It's not phasing her. And I'll tell you guys why at the end. She's done what she's done. At this point, he gives her money, a lot more money. More than what he gave her the second time. When she gets back to her friends, they split the money. She's not saying a word to her friends. Her friends are like, Ashley, are you okay? Are you okay? She's not talking to them. Her best friend out of the group, Rachel, is like, yo, what's going on? And she's not saying a word. She's like, I'm good. I just want to take a shower and go to bed. Rachel's like, all right, cool. She tells the girls, hey, tomorrow, me and Larry are going to hang out again. The girls are like, we want to come. We want to hang out. Can you see if we can bring his friends so we can make money too? And she's like, no. She's like, I'm going to hang out with him. But again, I'll split the money with you. At this point, homegirl goes and she's taking a shower. Rachel and the rest of the girls are in the living room. And they're kind of like talking mess about her. They're like, something's wrong with this girl. They're like, she's never been the type of girl to go anywhere. Like I stated, the girls are in the living room. Like, they're talking mess about her. Like, she's never been the type of girl to just, like, go anywhere by herself, and especially, like, not include us, they're like, something's up with this girl. Some of the girls, besides Rachel is, like, the closest to Ashley. So, these girls, they're friends, but their friendship only involves around making money. They're not, like, like sisters, like I got your back through it all, right? They just cool because they make money together. Now in the group, some of the girls have closer bonds with some of the other girls. Like now Rachel is the closest to Ashley. You know, you get what I'm trying to tell you. Anyways, so while they were talking, some of the girls were like, no, maybe she's just greedy. Maybe she done saw how much money this guy, is giving her, and she wants to make all the money alone. That's why she's, not inviting us, yada, yada, yada. And they're like, some of them are like talking mess about it. They're like, when we started this group, we said that we're going to work together. We were always going to split the amount. Now she's acting funny. Blase, blase, blase. Now Rachel's trying to tell the girls, like, no, y'all, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I just think that something is off. She had already told us in the car that something was off with Larry, and we didn't believe her. And I honestly think that something is truly wrong with her, and I think that this guy has something to do with it. These girls look at Rachel and they're like, girl, are you okay? They're like, Rachel, they're like, Larry is the best thing that has happened to Ashley and has happened to us. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with Ashley wanting to be greedy and not wanting to share the amount of money. The girls are like arguing back and forth. They decide to go to bed. That same night, demonic encounters over again. The girls swear up and down. They could hear, it's always the same tactics with the enemy. They could hear literally knocks on the door, the temperature in the room changes, all that. The next day, the girls tell Ashley, hey, you're going to go hang out with Larry. We're going to go to the club and we're going to try to get some clientele like that, and we'll just meet you here after that. That same day, Ashley goes. As she leaves, Larry takes her out on a date. And this time, Larry's trying to tell Ashley, hey, why don't you just move in with me? Aren't you tired of doing this lifestyle? Why don't you let me take care of you? This and the other, blah, blah, blah. And everything, it's like Ashley is, what's the word I'm looking for? In some kind of like trance, to where like she's not thinking, right? Like she's become like the yes man, Anything Larry says, she's like, yeah. And he convinces her that it's time for her to get out of that group and let him take care of her. He tells her, when we're done having dinner, you're going to go back to the house, get everything you need. Really, the most important thing, he's like, I don't really care about the clothes. I can buy you all that. But just stated, he told her, your clothes, shoes, I don't care about none of that. He's like, I can buy you whatever you want. I just need you to get like the most important things, like your documents, your IDs. And for some odd reason, again, this girl's like in some weird trance. She's like, all right, cool. Ashley does exactly that. She goes to the house, she grabs a few of her stuff, her documents, and she dips. When the girls get home, at this point, they're like, what's going on? They're calling her, she's not answering, texting her, no answer. But they can tell that she's viewing their messages. They're writing to her on social media, no answer. But she's viewing everything. Rachel is very worried. Again, she's the closest one to them. Rachel tells Ashley, hey, yo, I don't know what's going on, but I need for you to reach out to me just so I can know you're okay. Ashley texts Rachel one text message, and she says, I'm okay. Rachel's like, why are you doing this to us? Why are you ignoring us? Can you, no answer, nothing. At this point, Rachel tells her, all right, cool, you want to play that game? I'm going to show up. We're going to show up at Larry's house tomorrow, and we're going to come talk to you. At this point, no answer again. The next day, the girls get up and they head to Larry's house. When they get to that house, there is nobody there. Nobody. Zero. The girls are very, very worried. Rachel's texting Ashley saying, hey, we just left Larry's house. We don't know where you're at. Nobody was there. We knocked because back home, a lot of homes have compounds, and there's usually like security guards or like a house helper, a maid that opens the gate for you. There was a maid, a gate man there, but the gate man wasn't answering the door for none of them. And the gate man kept saying that, they're not here, they're not here, they're not here. At this point, Rachel tells Ashley, if you don't answer, I'm going to have to get in contact with your family. At that point is when Ashley called Rachel. Now, her family, since the day that they found out that Ashley is a SW, they cut all contacts with her, but they still took the money that she was giving them monthly. The allowance she was giving them, they would take it, but they hated the lifestyle. They wouldn't talk to her, which is so messed up. The nerve for you to hate the job I'm doing, but yet still take my money is it's a disgusting habit. But I understand, when you're in poverty, you're in poverty. Her parents hated what she was doing. And none of them, they all cut her off, all of them, except one person. And the one person that didn't cut her off was her brother's wife, so her sister-in-law. And her sister-in-law was actually a woman of God. So back to the story. All right, so at this point, Ashley calls Rachel. Rachel is like, yo, what's going on? How come, why are you doing this to us? Like, you have us worried. We went to the house. They said you weren't there, yada, yada, yada. And Ashley's like, everything is okay. Larry wants to take care of me. Like I mentioned, Ashley's like, everything's okay. Larry just wants to take care of me and he wants me to stop doing this. And Rachel's like, girl, you don't even know who he is. You're the one that said he was weird. You're the one that said he was off, that something was wrong with this man. Now all of a sudden you're in love with him. And Ashley was like, can you please stop, Rachel? Like, I want to stop doing this lifestyle, and he wants to offer me a better lifestyle. Rachel was like, until I see you face to face, I am going to assume that you're not the one talking. He's the one that's telling you what to say. Rachel tells Ashley, please, let me just talk to you face to face. And if you tell me face to face that everything is okay, then everything will be okay. I will leave you alone. We'll leave you alone. You will never have to worry about me calling and trying to figure out how everything's going. At this point, what's going on, man? Anyways, at this point, Ashley's like, all right, cool. Ashley tells her we're going to meet at a certain restaurant. I just want you to come. I don't want to talk to the rest of the other girls. Again, Ashley really didn't have a relationship with the rest of the girls. They just worked together. She tells Rachel, I will talk to you alone. But Rachel was very smart. Rachel decided to get in contact with his sister-in-law because Rachel knew that something was wrong with Ashley. Rachel claimed that she could see every time she saw Ashley walking, and when it was at night, she could see a demonic shadow being, demon, whatever you want to call it, following her, literally right behind her. She said that, you know how like you can see somebody walking, their shadow is following them, then behind them you see another shadow. Like it was two shadows, Ashley's shadow and some other demonic shadow following her behind her. Anyways, Rachel knows that she doesn't pray, she doesn't have a relationship with God, but she wants to help her friend, so she decides to get in contact with Ashley's sister-in-law. She calls Ashley's sister-in-law. She tells Ashley's sister-in-law, I really need to talk to you. Ashley's sister-in-law and her talk. She tells Ashley's sister-in-law everything. She tells her what happened about Larry and how Ashley had told everybody in the group that something was wrong with him the first time, how she saw a demonic creature on top of him when they were doing the do, yada yada yada. Now all of a sudden, like, Ashley's not Ashley anymore, and she's like, hey, I just want you to come with me when I go to this restaurant. Maybe you can talk to her, maybe you can be able to feel the situation and tell me if I'm tripping or if something's really wrong with this girl. At this point, it's the day of the meeting, the restaurant meeting. Ashley is at the restaurant. Rachel comes up with her sister-in-law. Of course, Ashley is mad that the sister-in-law is there, but Ashley always loved the sister-in-law because the sister-in-law always loved Ashley. Out of everybody in the family, the sister-in-law was the only one that literally cared for this girl, prayed for this girl. The sister-in-law hated the fact that the rest of the family cut her off. She would tell the family, this is when your sister needs you. Hated the fact that the family used her. They would take her money, but they would talk crap about her. They see each other. Even though Ashley's very embarrassed, she embraces her sister-in-law and she's crying and they're like hugging, and it's been a while since they've seen each other. And that's when they all sit down and talk. And before they talk, the sister-in-law tells Ashley and Rachel, hey, let's pray before we have this conversation. They start praying, and while they're praying, Ashley just starts crying uncontrollably. She can't stop crying, just crying and crying and crying. And when they're done praying, that's when Rachel and the sister-in-law are holding Ashley's hand, and they're like, yo, what's going on? What's wrong? And that's when Ashley's like, I don't know. She's like, I don't even know why I'm doing what I'm doing. She's like, but this man has a hold on me. Oh, my eye's itchy. She's like, this man has a hold on me. She's like, I swear to God, y'all, this man is a warlock. What the heck is in my eye? This man is a warlock. And the girls are like, how do you know? She's like, no, he really is. She starts telling the ladies how when they left that night, she thought that they were going to go to the house that she's been at twice, but she said that they were at a whole different house, and that the moment she walked in, and before she got there, she's like, I don't even know why I said yes. She's like, it was like he had a hold on me, some sort of control over me. Anyway, she said that when we left, after I got my stuff and I left, she said, I thought we're going to go to the house that I've been to. She's like, but we ended up in this whole different house. And she said, and the minute I walked in, she said, I saw so many other girls. She said, when I turned around to look at him, she was like, telling him, what's this? And he's like, oh, these are my other wives and da da da. She said, at that moment, you would think that I would be so angry to hear this. She said, but again, it's like I'm in some weird trance where I'm just like, okay, you know. She's like, but I know he's doing witchcraft. She's like, because everything in that house is, everything, the decor, everything is very demonic, ritualistic. She said, and every night when he thinks everybody's asleep, he will leave the house and go into his shrine. So again, compound, right? In the compound, in a lot of houses in Africa, you'll have a house in the, well, compound in the house, and then there might be another house in that compound, right? And he had a shrine where none of the girls were allowed to go to. And she said that she would literally sit at the window and watch him walk into that shrine and then walk out like an hour later. When he walks out, she could hear him outside every girl's door putting some stuff at the door. And when the sister-in-law is like, what is he putting? And she's like, I don't know, but it looks like sand. It looks like sand mixed with some stuff. And the sister-in-law is like, all right, that's weird. And she's just telling them how he's very controlling, how is this, how is that. Anyways, they conclude the conversation, and the girls are begging her. They're like, Rachel, don't go back, you know, just come with us. And Rachel's like, I can't. My documents, everything is in that house. I at least have to go get my stuff back. At that point, the girls are like, all right, go get your stuff back, and let's help you with an exit plan. The girls decide that they're going to stay in contact, and what do I say, Rachel? Ashley. Rachel is the best friend. This is why I hate giving names, because I forget them. Anyways, Rachel and the sister-in-law tell Ashley, okay, since you decided you're going to go back so you can get all your documents and things that are important that you need, which I personally think that should have just left. You know, if it's a birth certificate or whatever, you can get that. Your life is way more important. But anyways, they decide that they're going to come up with a game plan on helping her exit and leave this guy. And also the sister-in-law is like, I'm going to get in contact with my pastor. We're going to be praying for you. And I'm going to talk to him about what this sand is. Like, what's the meaning behind somebody putting sand on a door. Anyways, they do exactly that. Rachel goes back to the girls. And at this point, Rachel herself, she's starting to realize that maybe life is spiritual. You know, she's starting to see that maybe I alone should stop this lifestyle. Anyways, Ashley leaves, Rachel leaves, the sister-in-law leaves. Now, let's go to the sister-in-law. The sister-in-law gets home, talks to her brother, talks to Ashley's mom, and she's telling them what's going on. And these people would care less. You know, that really broke my heart, because it sucks when you're going through a situation and you feel alone. When the people who love you are supposed to be there to support you, instead they're talking smack about you. It is the most heartbreaking. It's horrible. Especially that she's supporting these people. Anyways, the sister-in-law is trying to tell them that, like, yeah, because the rest of the crew, the rest of Ashley's family, they're not spiritual like that. They don't really understand. They're telling the sister-in-law that no, that the sister-in-law is trying to explain to them how, like, you know, Ashley's going through depression, how she's not the same, how, you know, meeting this guy, he's a warlock. And they're like, no, that's not it. Her own family, Ashley's family's like, no, that's not it. It's her lifestyle. She chose to be an SW, and she's out here drinking and doing party favors and taking things. That's why she's going crazy, blah, blah, blah. They don't care to help her. The sister-in-law gets in contact with her pastor. She tells the pastor what's going on, and she asks the pastor the meaning behind putting sand at the door of somebody, which I've heard this before plenty of times. The pastor tells the sister-in-law that sand, usually it's always the sand that they grab from the grave. And the reason they do this is because when they put that sand on whoever, like at somebody's door, when that person cross over, that person becomes a slave to this person. They basically, how do I explain this to you? They basically, how do I say this? Just like the person in the grave that's completely gone, they become gone spiritually, right? And whoever put that sand on that person becomes their master. It's well known. A lot of witches and warlocks do that in Africa. A lot. The sand you get in the grave is very demonic, very, very demonic. A lot of witches and warlock in Africa would tell people, if you're trying to capture somebody or make somebody like your slave, yeah, that's the best way to do it. And they do it a lot. But anyway, that's what the pastor tells her. The pastor's like, that's why Ashley's not the same. That's why she can't seem to understand why she can't leave this guy, even though she has the doors wide open. She can walk out, but she just won't. She doesn't understand what's holding her back. The pastor says, you need to get Ashley out of that house as soon as possible. The pastor's like, we need to pray for her. We need to get her out that house. While all that's going on, Rachel done told these girls, the rest of the SW friends, what's going on. The friends would care less. They're still angry that this girl left, instead of, her keeping her promise of like, hey, we're always going to share money. They, in their mindset, they're saying that she left because she found a baller and she didn't want to split the amount. At this point, Rachel's like, no, something's going on. Rachel's telling them, yo, I saw her. She's not the same. Something is off with her. The girls are like going off on Rachel, and they're telling Rachel like, no, you're a part of it, this and the other. At this point, the girls tell Rachel that, you know what, we're gonna leave. We found a new city or whatever town that they wanted to move to, and they tell Rachel, if you want to come with us, you can come with us, but we don't want you bringing up the name of Ashley ever again. That girl played us. At this point, Rachel's like, I'm not gonna leave my friend. Rachel gets in contact. Anyways, y'all, at that point, these girls left. They did exactly what they said they were gonna do. They were on to the next city. They left. Rachel ended up finding a place that she can be able to afford while she helps her friend get out of this situation. The sister-in-law, get in contact with Ashley, and they tell Ashley, we have a plan. We have a pastor. We're going to meet you at a certain location. You're going to grab what you need. You're going to tell Larry that you're going to do something, right? Do something, and you're going to leave, and that's going to be it. But they tell Ashley, make sure you don't tell anybody about what we're talking about what's going on. You keep your mouth sealed. Cool. They tell Ashley, please make sure you're there at this time. The day of Ashley's escape comes. She doesn't show up where they're supposed to meet up. They're calling her phone, no answer. Eventually she picks up. They're telling Ashley what's going on, like, what happened? Why didn't you show up? And Ashley's like, no, I'm gonna stay, honestly, y'all, like, what's the worst? Okay, he does a little bit of witchcraft, so he's taking good care of me. I don't have to go back to that lifestyle. I don't have to, like, lay with people anymore. He's promised that he's going to put me in school. This is how the devil works, y'all. This is how the devil works. Empty promises. They're trying to tell Ashley, you have to leave this man. You have to leave this man. Things are not, they even put the pastor on the phone. The pastor's like, you have to leave this man. He's controlling you demonically. Ashley won't listen. She won't listen. Ashley's like, no, if I leave, where do I go? I don't want to go back to that lifestyle. And if they're telling her, well, you'll find a job. She's like, what kind of job? I didn't go to school. I don't want to be a house helper, because that's a lot of women back home that didn't go to school. That's usually the jobs they have. She's like telling them, no, I think this is the best thing for me for now. They're begging her, and she says no. Y'all, it is so sad. It is so sad. A couple months down the line, at this point, Rachel has stopped doing what she's doing. Her best friend then moved back home. She decided that she's going to find a regular job. If it means that she has to sell potatoes on the street, she was going to do that and go back, put herself back into school and do right, live right, because she's starting to see that life is really spiritual. And she hasn't talked to Ashley in a while. A couple months down the line, Ashley calls crying and screaming, and she's screaming, telling Rachel that she's ready to get out, that things have escalated. At this point, Rachel calls the sister-in-law. They're all talking, and she's telling the sister-in-law and Rachel that this man he's not just a warlock, that he's the D word himself. He's like, can I say that? I can say that word, but she's telling him that he is the demon, that's him. Like, she's like, he's not even a warlock, he's the real thing. She's telling the girls how this man has these girls controlled, how these girls are working for him, like that they're going out and still doing what she said that what he promised her that she would never have to do. But not only that, she said that that every night these girls are practicing. Now they're starting to practice ritual stuff. They're starting to involve people. They're starting to do a lot of sacrifices. That it's become a cult, like a demonic, can I say that word? It's bad. She tells the girls that I'm scared. She's like, I'm very scared. She's like, and the thing is, he's already told us that if we left, something bad was going to happen to them. The girls are telling her, don't be scared. You just have to leave. You have to leave. That's when the Rachel tells Ashley, look, we are going to get in contact with the pastor again and we'll help you. But you have to want it. You have to get out. Ashley's crying, telling them how every night she can swear up and down that she can hear demonic voices. She said that she swears up and down that every time a new girl comes in, she comes in young looking, but after the girls, like a couple weeks down the line, these girls are drained. They've lost weight. They're pale. That, you know, he's sucking each girl dry, physically and spiritually. At this point, they tell Ashley, all right, we're going to set something up. We're going to call you and you're going to be there, right? Are you ready? She said, I'm ready. They set something up. They set the date up. And Ashley's like, I'll be there. Just like the first time, she never showed up. At this point, the girls are calling her and calling her and calling her. No answer. Her phone's going straight to voicemail now. They're calling anybody that they think that might know the whereabouts of Ashley or this guy. You know, they're not getting any answers. Y'all, do y'all know that a couple months later down the line, they claim that they found a body in the water, and the water was about 10-20 minute drive from Larry's house. And the way they found this body was just very odd. You know, Larry was very well known. The story is that he paid the what are those people, the people that do the autopsies, that he paid them off, because, or those people are part of his little demonic cult. But the way her body found it, like they were saying, it was like she did it to herself. But the marks around her body, just the position, I was saying, like the way her body was found is very odd. The marks around her body, the way she herself, like if you saw it, you would know automatically that it was more so of a sacrifice than it was her taking her life away. And because it's Africa, and because you can't prove it, you know, there's nothing that they could do. All Rachel and the sister-in-law can remember is everything Ashley was telling them that was going on in that household. It is so, it is so sad. Because the enemy will use your situation to be able to take advantage of you. The enemy knew that this girl came from a family of poverty. Money was something they needed. And that's how and it's always like that. Just watch. That for me, for example, right? For me, when I quit dancing, I was like, okay, I'm gonna look for a regular schmegler job, and I did, right? And out of nowhere, like my customers that I haven't seen in years would be texting me. They're like, hey, I want to pay you 5-6 times the amount I used to pay you for a private day and stuff like that, right? And so this girl comes from a family that's poor, right? And the enemy introduced her to some other girls that are dealing with the same trauma, and they form a girl group, and they're doing SW work and then traveling around until she comes across a demon himself, and he ends up taking her life. When I heard this story, not only did it break my heart, y'all, it made me very emotional, because it reminded me how important it is, y'all, to love people, to love the people in your life that are dealing with hard things. If you know somebody's dealing with addiction, as opposed to judging them, pray for them. Pray for them. Pray for them, not only to be able to, for God to change their hearts, but also for their protection, because the enemy is working overtime, and the enemy is looking for souls. Let me tell you guys something. The enemy doesn't care about your soul, my love. He doesn't care about you at all. All he cares about is that he knows the only way he can hurt God's feelings, he can break God's heart, is by taking you out. That's the only way he can be able to get under God's skin, because he knows that God loves you so much. And let me break God's heart by taking this person out. And the fact that she died, I shouldn't have said that she died in sin, because I don't know her last words or if she repented, but just that situation alone is very, very, very sad. Very, very sad. You know, I thank God, y'all. I love my mom so much. I honor my mom. Y'all know why I honor my mom. Y'all, I don't want to get emotional, please. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. Y'all know why I love my mom and I honor my mom? Because my mom vowed, like, she made a covenant with God. My mom fasted every day. My mom lives a lifestyle of fasting. Opening at night, fasting and praying for me. And that's why I'm alive today. Y'all, I told y'all I'm going to open a YouTube channel. I think my first video is going to be my story of how I gave my life to God, because it is crazy, crazy, crazy. I shouldn't be here today, y'all. I should be in the grave. I should be gone. I should be gone. But because I had somebody that loved me, besides God, my mom and my sister, praying for me day in and day out, I am here today. And it breaks my heart, because a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have good family members, good friends that will go to war for them spiritually. It's one thing to fight for somebody physically, but spiritually, a lot of people don't have that. And that's why we're losing a lot of young people. And that's what breaks my heart, y'all. That's genuinely what breaks my heart. Is because I see a lot of me in these girls. Now, I wasn't an SW worker. Well, I was in the industry. I worked in a strip club. But I could see a lot of myself in them, right? A lot of myself in them. And, y'all, I don't know what else to say. It's just a sad story. It's a sad story. Rachel, sister-in-law, really good friends. Rachel gave her life to God. This situation made her give her life to God. And she's the one that goes around basically testifying, giving a testimony of what made her give her life to God because of Ashley's situation. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even have to go into more of the story. More of the story, number one, is in your darkest, deepest, in your time of need, the enemy will always come and tempt you. So if you're praying to God, needing something, wanting something, don't forget that there's another pair of ears listening, and he'll come to tempt you. Number one. Number two is, if you are that person that has a family member that is lost, pray for them. Pray that God softens their heart, that God takes the veil off their eyes, but also pray for protection, because the enemy's working so hard, man. What's that beep? The enemy's working so hard. And number three, y'all, give your life to God. God loves you guys so, so, so much. And witchcraft is so real. Now, what do I think happened? This is what I think happened. I think that the moment that they did the hanky-panky and he was in her, if you know what I mean, that whatever demonic spirit was within him jumped on her. That's why it's called a soul tie. A soul tie. They become one soul. And that's why Rachel could see a spirit following her. That's number one. Number two, what else do I think? I do know for a fact that when somebody grabs sand from a cemetery, I kept saying grave, a cemetery, and they they grab it and they take it to their shrine, do their 1, 2, 3, and put it at somebody's door. That if whoever that person is that they put that thing on, if they're not a Christian, they're gonna fall a victim. They're going to be spiritually, they're going to be enslaved to whoever this person is. It is a well-known fact. I think that Larry was a big warlock that was out on a hunt for younger women, of course, to be able to make money for his lifestyle, but also to use as sacrifice. TikTok, this app is very weird, but I gotta be careful about stuff I see on this app, and that's why, again, I have my YouTube. I'm gonna start posting now. So yeah. Anyways, guys, I've been here a long time telling this story. This story is very long, y'all. Like, there's a lot of details I left out that are not really important to the story, because I'd be here for like another 40 minutes. But be very mindful, y'all. Be mindful of the people that you're letting in your bed, people that you're doing the hanky-panky with. Be very mindful. I have seen girls work in the strip club. I've seen a girl walk in, never touched a party favor or a drink, never touched any sort of, when I say party favors, you know what I mean. The stuff that you take and makes you feel all, yeah. I've seen girls walk in that have never done any, not even a sip of alcohol. Then they start doing the hanky-panky with somebody that does that, and all of a sudden they become that. Because it's a soul tie. Be mindful of the people you are sleeping with, y'all. Be mindful. We are living in our last days. Yep. Anyways, guys, I gotta go. I will, man, this story broke my heart. It broke my heart. Anyways, I am gonna tell you guys another story tomorrow, and I'm gonna go home. I'm already home, but I'm gonna go inside, and the story depressed me. Anyways, I'm going to start working on the YouTube. I'll post the channel at the bottom. Go follow. I'm on a mission. My mission is to share the gospel and share the love of God with people, but also to make it to caution people how witchcraft works and how witchcraft is real and has consequences. That is my mission. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Okay, so now that y'all watched that, let's have the conversation. I'm gonna try not to make this too long because the video is already long. Okay, so and I have some notes I kind of put up because there's some points that I want to talk about that I don't want to forget. So if I'm looking up, that's the reason why. Okay, so first thing first, as always, we're not going to spiritually or religiously condemn anybody. I respect everybody's beliefs. I have people of all different religious and spiritual beliefs on my channel, so let's just respect everybody. Okay. But you are free to comment based off of your own spiritual / religious beliefs, okay? Shout out to Rosie. Rosie be having like the best stories. Like, I love her stories. And if you are watching Rosie, shout out to you. And I do want to know, are you back? Like, are you living in the States now? Because I know I was watching some of your videos the other day, and I don't know if you were moving, if you said that you moved back to the States or you're currently in the States, because I know you're from overseas. So I did have a question about that, because I know you just said you just celebrated Thanksgiving, and I didn't know if like you are also in the States now. So I do want to know that. If you're in the comments, let me know, girly, because I want to know. And I could not find your YouTube channel. I know you spoke about you're going to do a YouTube channel, but I don't know if you actually posted it. So let me know if you did that. Put that in comments too, so we can know how we can follow you and support you on YouTube. Okay. So with this story, y'all remember when I posted a lot of 304 content? YouTube didn't like that very much, but y'all remember when I posted a lot of 304 content? So I did that for a reason, and I spoke about that when I was posting it. And I did that because I think that it's really, really important, especially if you are going to be working in the night lifestyle, that you really, really spiritually protect yourself. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to work in the night lifestyle. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. It's whatever you got to do, you got to do. Like, I'm not here to judge you on your journey, okay? But you do have to spiritually protect yourself, because you do have to realize what goes on in the night lifestyle. And I've said this before, and we've seen some stories on this channel before, if you've been following me, to where people have literally shared, like, there was this girl dancer who got spooked. She worked in a strip club. She got spooked because she ended up either drinking too much or taking some type of substance in the makeup room, right? When she went back out, all she saw was spirits, for the most part. In the, like, where the poles and all that was, all she saw was like spirits, and it scared her. She was seeing girls dancing for like demons and spirits and all this kind of stuff, and it scared her and spooked her to the point she did not want to go back. Okay, so, and she's not the only one who has said that. There's other people who have witnessed all kinds of spiritual work and witchcraft in these nightclubs. And you have to think about it. That is a easy playground for low entities, low vibrational beings to be. The devil, however you interpret it, that is a perfect playground for him to be at. Okay, so you really have to be careful. I'm not saying it's bad. Like my sister works as a bartender. She's been working as a bartender for years. That really helps her. She's a single mom. So for her extra income. So I'm not saying it's bad that like you work in the night industry. There's different roles in the night industry. It's just that you have to be careful because it is a playground for a lot of dark entities. And I have said this before. Dark entities, low vibrational entities, they feel most comfortable where they're going to feel welcomed at. You think you're going to see a huge amount of like demons and low vibrational entities walking in a church, sitting in a church. Now they do, now don't get it twisted. Okay. Cause there are some twisted preachers. Okay. I had to witness that on that preacher reality show. Some of them ain't truly, what's the word I'm looking for? Some of them truly aren't sent from God. Some preachers are here, I feel like, to deceive. Some preachers, I feel like, ain't SHIT. Okay, they be living double lives, secret lives, materialistic, using the money that they get supposed to help other people and upgrade the church for their personal lifestyle. So that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not talking about those pastors. I'm talking about the ones who are truly of God. You're not going to see a lot of low vibrational entities and spirits in those places because they're not going to get very far in there. And they know that. Okay. They're going to go the places where they can go. And they're not going to be messing with people in environments where they know they're not welcomed. You might see one try to sneak on up in there, but again, they're not going to last very long, you know? And this kind of goes in relation to the conversation I was speaking to y'all about before when I was talking about the like dating as a single mom and how, you know, some people are scared to date as a single mom because they're afraid of predators and all this kind of stuff. Remember how I spoke about and said, you know, what you have to focus, it's okay to not date as a single mom, obviously, until your kids get out the house. But what I try to tell people to focus on is not put so much energy on fear, because regardless if your kids are in the house or not, you can still attract a predator, and a predator is a predator at the end of the day. So that means even if your kids are out of the house, what about your grandchildren? What about your niece and nephew? What about when you have family functions? You know what I mean? And stuff like that. You still have to worry about, if you dated a predator, he's still going to be around little kids at some point if y'all date and stay long term. Okay. So you don't want to attract that, period. You have to focus on putting yourself in a higher alignment, build your spiritual relationship with God, build your spiritual journey so you can reach yourself on a higher frequency. Because one thing low vibrational entities and spirits cannot stand is people who is close to God, people who is on a higher frequency, who is on a higher vibration. They can't align. It's like a math equation. They can't align. So if you down here, you low vibrational, you're depressed, going through poverty, always complaining, your life sucks, you're repeating the same cycles, you're down here. You're in the playground with them. They have access to you. They can see you, sense you, feel you. But once you do that inner work within yourself, and you start raising up, they can't find you. You're not on a frequency, you're not on a level no more, so they can't find you. You know what I mean? Some people wonder why when they do a lot of inner work and spiritual work, why certain people disappear out of their lives. Sweetheart, it's for a reason. They not on the frequency you were on no longer. There's so many men who was in the streets, heavy in the streets, and once they changed their life, they friends just didn't want to talk to them no more, deal with them. They just start disappearing because they started to do better. Like, I don't want this no more. I don't want to live in this lifestyle anymore, you know. And my husband, he used to actually be in the streets when he was younger. You know, he got into some trouble when he was younger. And he told me that he used to, you know, hear spirits trying to like talk to him and mingle with him, try to get him to do bad stuff. And he's not the only one. He said he also talked to other people as well, part of that lifestyle, who was hearing the same things. Like, that be spirits. These street lifestyle the same way. It be spirits out there telling you to unalive people, harm people, all this kind of stuff. They use whatever they can use, but they mostly exist in low vibrational environments. So you have to be careful. And I'm only bringing that up because these girls were SWs, ex-workers. Okay. That's the only reason why I'm bringing it up, because that is a low vibrational environment. Doesn't matter how good you are individually as a person. No judgment here. It's just that you are going to be surrounded by people who play in a low vibrational environment. So you have to be careful with who you intermingle with. Okay. And I have always said too, smacks, it's not just smacks. It's not. and I had to learn this as I got older. You can't just let anybody have access to inside of you. Like, you just can't. That is a spiritual thing. You'll learn that as you get older. Those who know, those who don't. So I have a whole video on soul ties on here as well. You have to be careful. You can't just let anybody inside of you. And fellas, you can't just be entering inside of anybody. You don't know who you entering into. Then you wonder why all of a sudden you sad and you depressed and you all these things that person was who you mess with. You have to be careful with that. Okay. And that girl having friends as well, that's part of that lifestyle. It doesn't surprise me in the story where they were, like only focused on the materialism. They're like, oh no, she just wants to keep the money for herself and she did us dirty. They're not worried about the spiritual health of this young lady. They're not worried about the mental, emotional health, even physical safety of this lady. That she had one good friend and then she had one good in-law who cared about her, who really was following up on her. And don't let me get started on the family. Like, not you taking her money, but you can't even be there for her. Listen, as a mother, I don't care what my kids done. Well, I do care. I ain't gonna say that. I do care. But no matter what they have done, I still will be there if I can. Doesn't mean I'm not going to show tough love when I need to show it and teach them lessons, but you can call me. If you are in danger, you can call me and I'm still going to show up. If you snuck out of the house and you know you wasn't supposed to sneak out of the house and now you find yourself in a dangerous situation or in trouble, you still can call me. I'm going to try as much as I can to have like an open communication policy environment with my kids, because I don't want them to ever think like they can't call me when they in trouble or they in harm's way. Yeah, I'm sure y'all don't agree with her, doing certain things in the night lifestyle that she probably shouldn't be doing or have no business doing. But it's weird that you can take her money from what she's doing. And then also y'all don't want to talk to her or anything. Like, you should, as a mother, especially as a father, whoever, you still want to check on your family member. If whether you agree with them or not, you ain't even got to have long conversations. Check on them like, you okay? You doing good? Okay, I'm just checking in with you. If you need anything, you can always hit me up. Don't mean that you got to have these long conversations, etc. You ain't got to be agreeing with what they doing, but it's like, I feel like a role as a parent is you still supposed to be there. So that little girl was unfortunately unalived because she was stuck. And it's like, we also have to spiritually protect our kids. I talked to y'all about that before. We have to be able to spiritually protect our kids and make sure they are away from spiritual harm and danger. You never know, like, if that little girl's parents like contacted her and like try to, build their relationship back up or like talk to her, they might have broke that spell, the trance that she was in, just because I always will feel like love is the highest frequency. You know what I mean? Like, they could have over trumped what was going on with her to where maybe she would snap out of it. Like, you know what? My mom and dad cares about me. They want me at home. Let me go home. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, we see how this story ended up. She ended up unalived, and it just really sucks. I hate it. I hate it for her. I hate it for the in-law. I hate it for her friend, but I am glad that something positive came out of it and her friend changed her life around. I'm glad that she got out of that lifestyle. It's just, it's bad, y'all. Like I said, we have got to have a safe space for our children. Like, it's just, and praying over our children, praying over yourself, praying over your friends, praying over your family member. You need to be spiritually protected. You need to spiritually protect yourself, your children, your family, friends, everybody. Protect your home. Sometimes you need to like cleanse your home. Like, I know me, before the new year, I definitely need to go around praying and cleansing the energy in my house. I usually go on a fast around the new calendar year, so I'm probably going to do that as well. So it's just, you have to keep yourself spiritually healthy, spiritually aligned, build your relationship with God, because intuitive wise, that will show you what needs to happen next. Like, if you're ever in doubt, ever confused, I do agree with Rosie in the fact of like, you don't have to go to warlocks. You don't have to go to witches. I do agree with that. Now, I'm not the type of person, because I'm not religious, of where I feel like all spiritual work is dirty. I do feel like if you're helping people, like I know of people who have worked in certain communities like hoodoo and voodoo who have actually helped people, heal people. I don't feel like that is bad. I feel like any harm that you're doing on somebody, even if it's for somebody else, I don't agree with that, but I do feel like Western medicine is not always the best medicine, and people don't know. Even if you're like, oh well, you should drink this with the herbs and stuff like that, that's actually a part of spiritual work. So some people don't even realize you be practicing certain spiritual work, witchcraft, etc., and don't even realize that actually is a part of witchcraft, you know. But so I don't think all of it is bad. Like people lighting incense and stuff like that, I don't feel like that kind of stuff is bad. I feel like anytime you're causing any type of intentional harm towards somebody else, whether it's for you or somebody else, I do feel like that is bad if it's a harmful thing. But if you are helping somebody like get over a physical, not physical, but like no, a physical like illness, sickness, mental illness, anything like that, I do not think that that's bad. That's just me. Okay, so that's how I feel about it though. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see you on the next one.